I had some reservations initially. It came about purely because Christine had seen an advertisement. She'd investigated it and thought it was a good move. I jokingly say, I flipped a coin, called tails, and it came up tails, so I said, yes, okay, I'll be with you, but there was a bit more to it actually than that. And then, strangely, having come here, I've fallen in love with the place. I still miss Warrandyte to some extent. I miss the bush and the birds and so forth, but I'm surprised at the number of bird life that we do get here. It's a beautifully situated place, so it's a small enclave. You know, it's not a gigantic one. We all get on extremely well. I have more friends here than I've ever had in my life. But I'm also lucky that here in Hester we have a garden. We've been fortunate to have had some magnificent gardeners that look after the place. It's a source of delight to me, and sometimes just by peering intently at some small part of it, you see things that are often just missed by people just walking past and not regarding it. And then the nearby surroundings also. I love the ambience of the place. When we first came here, there were two things that particularly struck me as being very, very valuable. One was the gymnasium, which I work out in fairly religiously, and the other was the cinema. Technology has changed to the extent now that with the internet we can stream movies, even movies that have never been shown in Australia. And I think that has added tremendously to the enjoyment that people get each Tuesday evening when we have these sessions. It's particularly easy to do the shopping. My partner quite enjoys walking down to Coles. It's just a 3 or 4 minute walk to the railway station if we need to go into the city. And so, it's the combination of the ease of travelling around without necessarily having to go somewhere in the car and try to find a parking spot, and the overall environment of Canterbury with its trees. It is a lovely place to live. I think we're quite fortunate. Well, one of the other things I like about this place is that every Friday at 5 o'clock we have a happy hour. It's not compulsory to come. The numbers that arrive vary, but we normally get around about 12 or 15 people bowling up at 5 o'clock. You don't have to be a drinker to come to it, but it's another moment where all of us are able, in a very convivial situation, just to sit around the corner, poke fun at one another sometimes. Sometimes we talk about serious things, but the idea of it is just to enlarge the friendship that we already have here with the various other residents. We each have our own apartments and we enjoy independent living. We're not being looked after by anyone other than ourselves, but we know that we are surrounded by friends who will help if it's needed, and sometimes that does happen. Much and all as there are things about Warrandyte that I still miss, I have no regrets in making the change. One of the things that enabled Christine to persuade me to come here was that you hear so often of somebody saying, yeah, I'll look into that later, and they don't look into it, and then something happens and suddenly they have to move. The advantage that we had in persuading me to come here was that make the decision before you have to do anything about it. Otherwise, you don't have the same number of choices, and you may well end up in somewhere that's not as friendly as this place is. By making the decision early and thinking about it and then coming, you'll save yourself and your children a hell of a lot of grief.